Hi, I'm Jill from June Taylor with another innovative solution. Did you ever want to join your quilt blocks that are made quilt as you go? Now we have a perfect way to do that with our Sash and a Dash. It's pre-sewn sashing. It's sold by the yard in 7 colors with matching binding. Open the casing and nest your quilt block inside the casing. And then we're just going to run a top stitch down the edge. Take your next block, open the casing, and just do the same thing. To join rows, we're going to do the same thing, only we're going to run our Sash and a Dash across the row. You can run a beautiful embroidery stitch down here to embellish Sash and a Dash, or you can even put a strip of fabric down here. Here's an example where we added a fabric strip by folding under raw edges and top stitching over Sash and a Dash. And if you like to make t-shirt quilts, go ahead and quilt your blocks and then join them with Sash and a Dash.
Ready to create fun and furry projects galore with the Go Puppy die. This sweet and clever die will help you create all kinds of pups quickly and easily. The die includes 10 intricate shapes that include tiny eyes and a wee little nose on a 6x12 die board that will fit through any Go cutter. You'll even find a special treat for your newly created pups, a little bone shape, and you'll love using the shapes on the board in different ways and with different fabrics and colors to create a litter of different pups of all kinds and breeds. Free downloadable basic embroidery is available on AccuQuilt.com for an added value for machine embroiderers. Your puppies will make a perfect addition to so many different projects like wall hangings and quilts. You can even use it to create a sweet bag to carry treats for your own furry four-legged friends. The Go Puppy is perfectly sized to work along the Go Kitten die as well. We know you'll love creating litter after litter of pups when you adopt one of these dies and bring it home, because at AccuQuilt we help you cut time so you can quilt and craft more. Today's show is all about cutting and sewing a block using that new 16-inch cube. Hey quilters, welcome to AccuQuilt Live. I'm Pam Heller, AccuQuilt's cutting expert. Thanks so much for joining us today. Chris is in the house. How are you, my friend?
I'm good. How are you doing today?
Okay, allergies in Nebraska. So much.
As you were like calling my name, I feel a sneeze coming on, so I hope I don't sneeze as soon as you bring me on camera.
There you go. So no, so many allergies, but doing fine after that. Okay, you look super dapper for your event this weekend. How was it?
It was really good.
Good.
It was for the Oregon Symphony. We went to their fundraiser. They do it every year.
Yeah.
And we just had a lot of fun.
Good.
I got lots of compliments on my jacket.
As you should, because you just made it that day. So, yeah, very fun, very fun. And are you a symphonic liker of music? Liker
Yes,
of
we have
symphonic
season-
music? Yeah?
Yeah, we're season ticket holders, so we go probably it's once or twice a month, depending on like what
Right,
concerts
the
they
month or
have.
whatever.
Yeah, and then they take the summer off, so
Okay.
we usually go about 8 to 12 times a year, I think, is the tickets we have.
Okay, very fun, very fun. Okay, and what are you up to? What are you doing now that you've been to the symphony?
I am working on making a list of what I need to do.
Yes.
I feel a little off track right now, so it's time to just sit down and make a list.
And do you make a physical list? Because Eric and I were talking about this the other day. Like, I make physical lists because I'm a big check things off my list.
Yes.
And I'm a big Post-it note, then I can take away the Post-it note person, right? Are you
Like I have a program, like a computer thing to like put like what I need to do and due dates and whatever, and that's fine.
Yeah.
But for like the immediate, like by this weekend I need to do X, I find it better on paper,
Yeah,
right
yeah.
in front of me.
Yeah.
I can check it off.
Yeah. I'm like you. I have long-term projects that are like on my computer, but every day, man, there's a list. So,
Yeah.
All right. All right, so let's see where everybody's watching from today. So let's see, Debbie is watching from Piedmont, Missouri, and another Debbie is watching from Bloomington, Illinois. Tatiana is watching from Oklahoma City. So much for your joining us on Facebook. Thanks for joining us. All right, today's project is so much fun. I'm so excited about this project. And it uses fat quarters. So here's my photo of the day. So this is a stack of fat quarters. And the question of the day is, so how many fat quarters do you have in your stash? So the project that we're going to make today, here I'll show you, Greg, the little pattern, requires 25 fat quarters. And actually you only use half of the fat quarter, but I very easily found 25 fat quarters in my stash. Chris, how about you, my friend?
I have a lot of fat quarters. It's my favorite cut of fabric. I find it's easy to just, mix them up. You have just enough to do, a couple blocks.
But you told me your little toxic trait about half-yard cuts. Tell me about that.
Yes. So when I go to a fabric shop and I find a fabric I like, I'll buy a half yard, take it home, slice it in half on the fold, and make 2 fat quarters to go into my stash.
And are they
'Cause
neatly
I will
folded?
use that. What's that?
Are they all neatly folded?
Oh, yes. Yes. I fold them all the same.
I'm proud of you.
And I find I'll grab a fat quarter. I have no problem using that. But if I have like a couple yards wound on a board, it's going to sit there. I don't go to those. I go to the fat quarters.
Yeah. Okay. So in the comment section today, we want to know, how many fat quarters do you have? It's going to be a great show. Today I'm going to give away $100 in AccuQuilt reward points. That way you could use it towards any of our product, including our brand new 16-inch cube. Be sure and register for future events on the AccuQuilt event page for your chance to win. Chris is going to announce the winner of our registered viewer at the end of our show. Okay, so the Go Whirling Wrenches throw quilt by Ellen Alt of Handmade 3D is so one of the cutest and simplest quilts to make. It's perfect for stash busting or using up those fat quarters. It's a free pattern at AccuQuilt.com. So to make this project, here's what you need. You need the 16-inch cube, which is brand new. If you don't have one, add it to your cart. And then we need the 16-inch companion corners. And then you just need a variety of fat quarters, okay? So let's talk about this project real quick before I start cutting stuff up. Okay, so this is the quilt. It's huge, which is why it's here on my table, okay? And we're gonna talk about this, okay? So this is the chisel shape that you're gonna find in the companion corners. The thing you need to remember about the chisel is that in this particular case, all of the chisels are facing the same direction. So it's a directional die. So you want all your fabric facing up on the die. Otherwise, your pieces aren't going to go in the correct direction. And we're going to cut some, but we're going to cut some of those, and we're going to cut. These are shape number 5 from that 16-inch cube, and shape number 2. Okay. Now, here's my pro tip. Typically, when we use the cube system, it is based on a 2x2 grid or a 4-patch. But Ellen Alt, who is super smart, made this on a 3x3 grid, and she used our smaller elements. So when we talk about the grid, we talk about columns and rows. And the easiest way to determine what kind of grid your block is based on is to find the smallest standalone square. And in this case, it is the center square, which is shape number 2 from the cube. All right? Typically, you know, in the cube we have big squares, little squares, big half square triangles, little half square triangles. So now we can count 1, 2, 3 columns, 1, 2, 3 rows. So this is a 9-patch, okay, or a 3x3 grid. Now keep in mind that some shapes, like the chisel, take up more than its space on the grid. It's like going on an airplane and the guy next to you is taking up way more than his space on the plane, okay? But we know that this square right here is our smallest standalone square. Now, because Ellen used our smaller units so that she could use the chisel shape, this finishes to 4 inches, okay? Just trust me on that, okay? And so 4 and 4 and 4 is 12. 4 and 4 and 4 is 12. So instead of making a 16-inch block, she actually made a smaller block using the 16-inch square. So that's the beauty of the cube system. You could make bigger blocks, you can make smaller blocks, you could make 16-inch blocks, just depending on which elements that you're gonna use, okay? So this is a nice big quilt that uses 25 fat quarters. I'm probably, I don't know, maybe make a smaller version. If I made a wall hanging, then the lovely Erica could hang it behind her on our meetings. So we'll have to see. All right, so Chris, do you want to talk a little bit about the grid? So
the grid?
Yeah, the grid. So if somebody wanted to use their 12-inch cube, how big would this block be?
Oh goodness, math. Okay, so it's going to use shape
2.
4.
2.
2.
2.
Shape 2 on the 12-inch is a 3-inch finished square. So 3 times 3 would be a 9-inch block.
Yeah, because that's one of the questions I'm sure everybody's going to ask is, can I use a different size cube? And the answer is yes, you can. But keep in mind it's going to change the fabric requirements and it's going to
And the size.
and the size that it finishes to, which I think is pretty fun with Ellen doing that. Typically, we use our cube and make bigger blocks, but I love the fact that she made a smaller one. Okay, so before we start cutting fabric, tell us how many fat quarters people have.
Oh, goodness. Okay. Let's
Right
see.
there is
Starting
good,
off,
Deborah.
Susan says that she has about 24 fat quarters. It's a good size.
Oh, that's a good size.
Let's see. Linda says too many to count. I am right there with you, Linda.
Yes, yes, yes.
Then Nancy says she has a few bundles. That's another great thing about fat quarters is you can get a bundle.
Yes.
You get the whole collection in one shot without having to buy yards and yards or go and hunt down each individual print.
So this is a Riley Blake. Shout out to our friends at Riley Blake. This is a bundle of fat quarters. So this is a whole line of yummy goodness that all works together. They're the right shades and they're the right color. So it's a great for a project to use those. Okay. And do we have a couple more before we start cutting fabric?
Sure. Debbie says that she has at least 20 that she purchased while in Paducah last week.
Hey, did you
Fun,
stop by and say
fun.
hi to our people? We had people there.
We
Okay.
did. And then Joyce says, my fat quarter stash is beginning to look like a quilt shop.
She could hang with you, Chris.
Yes.
Okay, all right. So let's lay out some of our fabric and talk about it. So Chris, how big is a fat quarter?
So a fat quarter is typically 18 inches by around 21 to 22 inches, depending on the fabric.
Yes.
So the 18 inches, that's your half yard. And then it's whatever the width of that particular fabric is, cut in half.
Right. Okay, so I'm gonna just take, oh gosh, I like this one a lot.
Oh, that's cute.
And this one has cars.
So
Well,
fun.
okay, we're gonna cut these today on camera because I already have some others cut. So we can mix and match. Okay. All right, everyone knows about me and math. And I want you to know, Chris, the first two fat quarters I cut wrong. I mean,
Oopsie.
I know, I didn't get the most out of them. So the pattern tells you to cut 9 by 5, okay? 9-inch by 5-inch rectangles. In theory, you should be able to get 8 out of a fat quarter, right, Chris?
Yep.
Unless you cut it wrong like I did. So here's what you need to do. You need to measure. So this is the 18 inches, okay? And this is the 22 or 21 inches, okay? So I need to come right here and cut 9 inches.
Nope. You want to,
See?
are you,
I need 4 9x5s.
yep. So I can see your selvage there at the top.
Yes.
That's the 18-inch length.
Yes,
So you're going to slice it in half that way.
this way.
Yeah, so right now how you have it, if you cut along the fold, that would be your 9 inches.
Oh, well, I was going to use a ruler.
Okay, so then this way, measure out 9 inches and slice.
This is why I cannot do math on a Wednesday. Oh my gosh. Okay, so look, 9 inches, okay? And I'm going to do the same here. This.
So the slice is perpendicular to your selvage. I had to think of that word.
Right, I had it folded right. Right, because is this 18? No. Oh gosh. Okay, once you cut them, then you'll know, right? Oh, here. I can do this. All of you at home are like, Pam, just cut the fabric. Okay. This is 19. See, this is why it always confuses me. Okay, but I can cut here, right? I can cut 9 inches.
Yep.
Okay. Chris says that with such confidence. Okay.
Well, it looks like that one was cut a little wider than 18, so
Yes.
you have extra fabric.
Yeah, that's what I need when I'm trying to do math on a Wednesday. Extra fabric. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay them out so the salvages will match down here at the bottom. Because the salvages are different. And you know, Chris, I'm always amazed at the difference of fabric and how big it is.
Yes.
Okay, so now watch. I can just do 5. Anyway, the first 2 I cut wrong. But then I didn't have Chris here to tell me, but I still cut them correctly. So that's
Okay.
good. So that way you're not wasting fabric. Even fat quarters are still fabric. They count.
Yep.
Okay. Okay, here we go. All right, there we go. All right, so what I'm going to do is I can always do up to 6 layers of cotton, but I'm going to cut these, well, I am going to cut 6 because I have a whole bunch here. Hold please.
And while you're stacking those up, just want to talk real quick about why you cut them 5 inches instead of fan folding. Because normally we would just cut a strip, fan fold it across the die.
Oh gosh, yes,
call it
please
good.
talk about that. Please talk about that.
But you cut them individual sizes because we need all of the fabric facing the same direction.
All facing
So
up.
in this case, it's all going to be facing up because the chisel is one of those directional shapes.
Yes. And then I'm just going to lay all of my pieces facing up over that chisel. Now, remember, our 16-inch cube will fit through your Go and your Go Big fabric cutters. And for this, you're going to need a 10 by 10 mat. Gosh, did I have way more than 6 layers? 2, 4, 6. I did not. Okay. Yeah, this is one of those, please read the instructions.
Directional shapes, like the chisel's not as bad, but the parallelogram gets me every time. I always end up cutting the first block wrong.
Every time I make blocks wrong with the parallelogram. Okay.
And it'll still make a block. It'll just be going in the opposite direction.
Yeah. All right, I have to do this here because I have 1 string. Don't anybody pull that 1 string because
snip.
it will just do its thing, right?
Yep.
It'll just tear. Okay. Okay, and then, so Chris, I'm going to ask you, do you save these little corners?
I might save the triangle part, but the stringy part I put straight in my recycle bag.
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure. No, I think I kind of saved those triangle parts.
If they're bigger, I will save them because you could do a half square triangle with that. I've done some fun, scrappy half square triangle quilts.
In your spare time?
Right, and especially from the 16-inch cube, like that's probably a good sized triangle. You can do like a 2-inch half square triangle out of it probably, and that's the size I use a lot.
Oh, there you go. Okay. All right. So now I'm going to put these over here. All right. All right, Chris, before we, well, I'm going to cut these and you can tell us. Okay, so we need half square triangles that fit right here on the chisel. This is shape number 3. And follow the instructions so that you just rough cut with the fabric strips, right?
Is it 3 or 5?
5. This is 5, thank you.
5,
Shape
okay.
5, half square triangles. And I just measured from here to here at 1/4 inch on either side. Just rough cut. I cut off the salvage so that I knew what the heck I was doing.
And with these, you can do the fan fold because it's
Yeah.
not a directional shape.
Correct. And this is shape number 2, which is the center, because we're using our smaller elements. And I'm going to do my trick because I can. So here we go. And I want you to know, Ellen, if you're watching our show today, I'm all about this quilt because I had so much fun making blocks at home yesterday. It was just terrific. Okay, now the Go Big is 4 inches wider than our Go. So look at this. I can run, there we go. 2 dice through in 1 pass.
Nice. Save lots of time that way.
I know. I love that. Okay, here we go. Okay. Now we've cut perfect half square triangles and perfect squares. Somebody was asking me the other day about, they're like, Pam, why do you use your AccuQuilt to cut squares? And I was like, goodness, of all the shapes, squares is the one I need the most help with, right? Because it's just, they're just wonky. Okay. All right, so now let's start building our blocks. I think I have done all the damage that I need to do there. So what I need are, oh, it's gonna fall. Oh, maybe not. There we go. Okay, so what I need now are 4 these chisels to have half square triangles to them, okay? And here is what I have learned. You need 2 for each block, okay? Oh, see? Okay, we're just gonna stack these up so I know what the heck I'm doing here, okay? We're gonna chain pieces, why I'm trying to get them organized, because I found that if I did 2 blocks at a time, it works easier. And then these, look at how cute these are. Okay? All right, so now I'm just gonna start by adding those half square triangles, which is shape number 5, to the corners. And we're just gonna chain piece for days. All right, Chris, while I'm sewing here, talk to us.
All right. We actually have some questions that have come in.
Hallelujah. Okay.
So Denise is asking, what about the 8-inch cube? It says, what would the unit be? And I'm imagining the size of the finished block.
Yeah.
So with the 8-inch cube, you're using the same shapes. So it's the chisel shape, which is, what's the chisel? Chisel.
Here, I can tell you.
The number 9? Yeah. So
Sure.
it's number 9 from the companion
Corners.
set. And then shapes 5, which is the small half square triangle, and shape 2, which is the small square. So same shape numbers, but with an 8-inch cube, you're gonna end up with a 6-inch block.
Yeah. So think about how fun that would be for like police mats or, you know, something smaller, or you could put 4 together and make a 12-inch block. This
would
one
be fun.
actually has sashing and cornerstones between it, which I think is kind of fun. Or you could just
Nice.
put the blocks together right next to each other. Whatever you want to do. There's no die, please. So Chris, how big would it be if it were 4 inches?
Oh, goodness.
Just 3-inch, right?
I think that would be a 3-inch block. Because shape 2,
Is
hold
it?
on. Yeah, shape 2 finishes at 1 inch.
Yeah, so it'd just be a
So it'd be a
3-inch
3-inch
block.
block. That's a small block.
That is a small block. There's probably going to be more seam allowance than
Actual quilt.
actual. Yeah. So notice, quilters, how I'm just doing all of my half square triangles to the corner here, putting right sides together. All right, Chris, do we have more questions? Because that was a good question.
Got some comments in here. Sandra is
Okay.
just saying, you also need to watch the design if you have a directional print, so that you have your design going the way you want in your
Right,
quilt.
I wanted my paint brushes, right?
Right, exactly.
To go that way. Had my, oh, look, my cars turned out good. That was happy. Okay.
And then Karen is asking me how my outfit turned out last week, because we talked about it a little bit.
Yes, it's so cute.
For what I was working on. And it turned out really good. I was very happy with it.
Okay.
So I made a shirt, a bow tie, and a jacket for an event my husband and I went to on Saturday.
And did you make his shirt and jacket and bow tie?
I just made his shirt.
Okay.
He did not wear a bow tie.
Okay, does he not know that's required? I mean, just saying.
Yeah.
And how long did it take you to make your jacket and shirt and bow tie?
I had started quilting the jacket fabric on Monday, I believe.
It was a quilted jacket?
Yes.
Oh,
So
Chris.
the pattern is the Elemental Coat by Crinkle Dreams. It's a super fast jacket to make, but I used some satin and organza that I quilted together to make the actual jacket, so it's a little sparkly without being glitter. So I got that all quilted up, and I made the jacket, and then I made my shirt on, I want to say Thursday, and then I made the bow tie Saturday morning before the event.
Before the event on Saturday night?
Yeah.
Good job.
But the bow ties are super fast to make. I love them.
Yes, and if you have not seen Chris make a bow tie, we had a whole Wednesday event on it.
We did.
That was one of my favorite. I just sat in the chair and watched you work. Made me happy. But Chris talks about how to make a bow tie, and it was super fast and easy. All of our AccuQuilt lives, including this one, are recorded. You can watch them on our Facebook page, our YouTube channel, or our website. But go to YouTube, because that's kind of...
They're easy to find on YouTube.
They are
and actually,
easy
Shirley
to
just
find.
asked about that, if these videos are available to view later. So yes, they are.
Yes, they are.
Perfect timing.
Now I'm pressing my triangles, and I'm pressing towards the triangle. Here, Greg, I'll show you.
Towards the triangle, okay.
Yeah, just pressing our chisels. Now they're rectangles. Okay. All right. Do we have more questions? Because this is such a fun and simple pattern. Go ahead.
It is. Nancy just says, I wish I had Chris at home to help me. I would love to be able to help everyone.
Listen.
I enjoy it. It's fun.
I wish I had Chris at home to help me. Because sometimes I learn things from Chris every day. We talk about this, but I just think, what? How do you know that? And he does, which is amazing. So.
I always have quilting on my brain.
I know. I wish Erica lived next door, because then she could just come over and help me.
Yes.
Just saying. But we do talk quite a bit. She and her good friend. Okay, next week, everybody needs to put, if you're not a member yet, join our Under the Needle Facebook page, Under the Needle with Pam and Erica. We're going to post about our new quilt along, okay? All of our fabric, but other things. And next week on Wednesday is the lovely Erica's birthday. She is much older than I am.
I won't tell her you said that.
7 weeks. 7 weeks, I think.
You said her birthday's on Wednesday?
Yeah, is that the 7th?
The 7th, yeah.
Yeah.
My birthday's next week also.
When is your birthday?
On Monday.
Well, listen, everybody go to Rose City Originals and wish Chris a happy birthday on Monday. That's so fun. All right. Are you older or younger than your spouse? It's kind of a personal question. Yeah, me too. Okay. By like 6 months. Not even that.
Oh.
Okay. All right. So now we've sewn our half square triangle with the chisel block. All right. So now it's time to assemble our block. All right. Now we're going to start by laying out our block. Okay. Da, 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 da. Look, they both have bicycles.
Oh, fun.
I know. Sometimes fun things happen. Okay. Okay, here we go. And then shape number 2, which we cut, goes in the center. Now, I am going to teach you a super, super slick trick and technique. It's a great parlor trick. It is called a partial seam. But Chris, you have a great example of what you sewed partial seams to, yes?
I do. It's hanging up right behind me. So this is
can you see? Yeah, it's herringbone.
Broken herringbone quilt, and it was one of the first quilts I made when I got into quilting in 2018.
Yes.
And it is all partial seams.
Yeah.
So I'm a pro at partial seams at this point.
You are. Okay, I think I had made them a long time ago, so I went to the YouTube, and said, hey, how do I do partial seams? And I watched this great video on how to do partial seams. But quilters, you don't have to go to the YouTube. You can just watch me right now, because I'm going to show you how to do partial seams. Okay? And here's what I have learned. To chain piece, you need to make 2 little blocks. Okay? Look at how cute my paintbrushes are. Okay.
That's super cute.
So this partial seam is right here at the very beginning. And what you're going to do is you're going to sew this square to this chisel rectangle plate piece, okay? But you're going to stop about halfway through. You're going to start at the end and you're going to stop. And Chris and I both agree that you should backstitch when you're sewing this partial seam. Otherwise, it might come undone. So I'm going to flip it over here. Okay, and then from this end to this end, I'm going to stitch. From this end to the middle, I'm just going to stitch to the middle, okay? And then I'm going to show you this super cool trick. This is this is so you don't have to make Y seams. Which
I much prefer a partial seam to a Y seam.
Over and over and over again. Yes, indeed. Okay. So I'm going to come here to the middle, give it a little back stitch, okay? And then I'm going to leave it right here, and then I'm going to do this one. And then after you do this, so I'm going to tell you, quilters, I would do 2 blocks at a time, and I would sew your partial seams first, because you have to, and then you can just chain piece.
Right.
Okay. All right. So now, look at this. It's so fun. Okay. All right. So we're going to start here, and I'm just going to give it a little finger press. Okay? And
you're pressing towards the center?
Towards the
square?
center. Yep. And then look. Now this piece will lay right here. And oh, look. We have a clip. Maybe we have a clip. We have a pin. That'll work. Oh, Eric will be so pleased. Okay. Okay, I'm going to pin it so that that partial seam stays down, if that makes sense, right? So I'm just finger pressing it towards the center. I'm going to fold my little cars over. Okay. And then I'm going to just put a pin in here so it stays down. Okay. All right, so now I'm ready to do this. And again, I just think this is such a cool little trick. Just add it to your repertoire of quilting tricks. Okay, Chris, while I'm sewing these, do we have any questions? Or how many people have fat quarters?
We do. We'll do a couple questions and then count some fat quarters.
Okay.
Someone is asking, is AccuQuilt no longer on Tuesdays?
So, yes and no. If there is a die launch, we have die launches on Tuesdays and all the Wednesdays. Now, having said that, AccuQuilt is in the process of moving from one space to a new space. It's pretty exciting. So we have the Quilt-A-Long coming up on May 14th. So Chris and I will be here for a couple more weeks, right?
Yep.
Yeah, right? Okay. So much. And then we have the Quilt-A-Long, and then Chris and I will be here June 11th, and then there are no shows the 18th or the 25th, because not only do we have to move all of AccuQuilt, but they have to rebuild our studio for us. Mm-hmm. So those 2 weeks, but we'll send out reminders, and then in July, it's just gonna be all back to normal Wednesdays, and we're gonna have such a great time. So
yep. And you can always check the AccuQuilt event page.
Yes.
You can register there so you're included in any of the giveaways, but then you can also see like which Tuesdays have shows happening.
Yes, thank you for that. And that's on the AccuQuilt Facebook or on the AccuQuilt website. And that's how you win prizes. When you sign up for events, then I just randomly choose people to win fun things. Though when I go to shows, Chris, you'll find this funny. Often people are saying, "Hey Pam, I think you should pick me next week." And I say, "Yeah, really? Okay." Okay, so now look at this. Look at this. Okay, you want to make sure the triangles are all facing out. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to give this like a press. Okay, and I'm going to press away for this one. Okay, and you got to keep them in the right order because otherwise, thank you, Greg. Otherwise, it won't work. Okay. Okay. All right. So now, quilters, watch. Now I'm going to just fold this up here, and I'm going to fold this up here. Okay. And I'm just going to stitch, doing just like I did previously. Okay. And like I say, this is a super fast and easy project. Yesterday, I sewed probably, 10 blocks.
Oh, wow.
In less than like.
Nice.
However long it took me to watch an episode of Rizzoli and Isles. That's, I sewed 10 blocks. So, and I cut them all first. I'm going to tell you, cutting helps, right? If you cut everything first, then you just have everything ready to go. So.
Nice.
All right, Chris, do we have questions or people's fat quarters?
We do have questions.
Okay.
And a suggestion. Jackie said you can change the center square to yellow and make it a flower. That sounds fun.
Jackie. That is cute.
There are lots of people asking to see the jacket I made. It is in the other room. So next week, I will wear my outfit so you all can see it.
Oh, okay.
So be sure to tune in next Wednesday.
Okay. All right.
Let's see. Someone's asking what I'm looking at when I look over to try to figure out measurements. So off to my left, I have my bookshelf with all of my dies and cubes. So I'm just looking at the boxes to remember which shape is which number.
It's trying to do math over there. Okay, and I'm going to press again. I'm going to press these away out towards the outside.
And then Judy is saying, I have trouble filling the binding using 2.5-inch strips. Any suggestions?
She has trouble what?
Filling the binding. So when you put your binding on, you want like the actual quilt to like fill up inside the binding.
Yes.
You can try using a 3/8-inch seam allowance when you first attach it on. That's what I do if I'm going to hand stitch the binding on the back, because then you get a nice full binding. If you're doing machine binding and find you're having that problem, you might want to switch to a 2.25-inch binding strip. That might help as well.
There you go. Okay, quilters, look at this. So now we're ready to add this last rectangle. Okay, and because we just have that partial seam, I can stitch straight down this seam. I don't have to worry about Y seams or nonsense. Okay, yeah, 3/8-inch seam sometimes helps me if I'm wanting it to be fuller. That's a good word. Okay, and I'm just pressing. All right, Chris, how many fat quarters do people have? This is my favorite question of the day.
Let's see. Denise says, I have lots of baby fat quarters.
What is a baby fat quarter?
I'm thinking it's either baby-themed fabric.
Or maybe a fat eighth?
Maybe.
Tell us
so
what you mean.
A fat eighth is, what would that be? 9 inches by 20 or 22 inches.
Yeah.
So it's made the same way, except you use a 1/4 yard cut of fabric and then cut along the
Right.
the fold. Yep.
Okay.
Let's see. Toby says, I have 2 fat quarter bundles, but my favorite is jelly rolls.
Oh.
I actually don't use jelly rolls that often, and I wish I
hardly-
did because they're fun.
Hardly ever use jelly rolls. Isn't that funny? I have a jelly roll quilt that I made with some fabric that we got when Kenyon and I were filming with Eleanor Burns. She had these super cute jelly rolls that I made a rail fence quilt. But yeah, I'm like you. I hardly ever use jelly rolls. But so many people have them in their stash. And there's some really great fun books on jelly rolls.
There are, yeah. I should pick one up so I can use some of these jelly rolls I have sitting around.
There you go. Okay, so look. I stitched all the way down here. And now I'm ready to flip this over and start where I stopped and finish out the seam. I mean, I just think that that is such a clever little thing. Way to go, Ellen Alt, for deciding that that's what we should do here. Okay, so I'm just gonna come here and just finish out my block. And again, quilters, this is gonna make a 12-inch block, but you could use other sizes of cubes. And here we go. All right, Chris, do we have more questions?
We do. Angela's asking, if you fan folded the car and house material, could you not have the cars and houses going the same way on the block? So you can't fan fold on the chisel because it is a directional shape.
Yes.
But I don't know if you were here at the beginning, Pam cut 9-inch by 5-inch rectangles as the
Yes.
rough cut. If you flipped, you could flip them over as long as all the fabric is facing face up.
So what?
And then,
What? Tell me how I
So-
would have done that differently.
like if you had your cars facing, like if you're looking at the square and they're all facing
Oh,
up,
I see.
like you could have rotated the other one so that the cars would also be up, but then the corner would be like at the bottom.
Oh, okay. So
That probably made no sense.
Chris is talking to us here, and that makes sense. Okay, so let's
Yeah.
say. Okay, hold on.
So if you took that
So
original
if
piece
I
of
took
fabric
this
and just,
original fabric and laid it like this, right? Then all of my cars would go in the same direction. And if I had done this with my houses, look at how clever we are to know that. Then you could. This is why we
Yeah.
tell you to always make a test block. So if these would have been rectangles and we could have cut them here, then they would have been the same all the way around. I'm okay
Yep.
that they're not all the same going around, but now that I know that, going forward, I think I might make them all the way going around.
there
Okay.
you go.
All right, so now look, I'm going to just press down the center seam towards the center. And I'll do it here on this block.
Got some more, lots of questions coming in today.
Good, yes.
Linda's asking about the quilt behind me, if there's a pattern available. So it is a YouTube tutorial. It's called The Broken Herringbone. The tutorial is probably 10 or 12 years old at this point. I do not remember the name of the creator, but she gives a great tutorial on how to make it.
Okay.
So you can look that up on YouTube.
Because things live on YouTube forever till we die.
They do, absolutely.
Okay.
And then Stephanie's asking, how do you sign up for the Quilt Along?
Oh, there is no signing up. You just join us.
All
So-
right.
There is a free pattern at AccuQuilt.com called Go Rise and Shine. And it uses our 16-inch cube. And we are starting May 14th. And the first Wednesday, it starts 12 noon Central Time, just like this AccuQuilt Live. And we're going to show you how to cut your fabric. And then we're going to sew. It has 4 different elements in it. And we're going to show you how to sew the 4 elements together and then the rows together. It is super easy. And then if you join the Under the Needle with Pam and Erica, and if you just search for that in Facebook, it will show up. It will have my picture and the lovely Erica's picture together. And then you can post pictures of your fabric, you can ask questions, but the pattern is Go Rise and Shine from AccuQuilt.com. That's a great question. Okay.
Awesome. A couple more questions here. Stephanie's asking if the AccuQuilt store open to the public.
So
I think she means like the space, the office space.
Yeah,
there.
our office space has not been open to the public since COVID. And the reason why is because we're not here all the time. Most of our company works remotely. And so we're not here all the time. Obviously, we're here, Wednesdays and then some Tuesdays. But before, you could come visit our offices, you could meet our employees, you could see the warehouse, you could see the studio. But really, there's no one here to do that now. So the AccuQuilt building itself is not available. It's not open to the public. And like I say, June 1st, we are moving to new space. And the new space is like 2 blocks from my house, Chris.
That's convenient.
Super excited. I can just walk there. So, all right, do we have other questions? Because I'm going to sew this last.
Do.
Go ahead.
Yes. So Jackie's asking if I have a brick and mortar store, and I do not. There was someone else in here asking that as well, so I'm sorry if I missed your question. But right now I am just online only, or you can catch me at shows, and I always do videos and announce when I'm going to be out somewhere.
He does. So yeah, that's a great question. But Chris sells fun fabrics and patterns and super cool stuff.
Yes. And then Charlotte says, I've been seeing a lot of fat eighth bundles lately. Does AccuQuilt have any fat eighth patterns?
Gosh.
So with this quilt that you're making, you said you only use half of the fat quarter, right?
Yes. So you could use a fat
You
eighth.
could do this with fat eighths because you have that 9-inch strip, and then you would cut 4 5-inch rectangles off of that to then cut out for your blocks.
Look at Chris knowing
could
some
work.
stuff. Yeah, so this is a perfect fat eighths pattern. Thank you for asking that. That's a great question. Okay.
And then Charlotte's asking, is it all face up or all face down?
All face up.
So this pattern has it all face up, but
Yes.
definitely read the pattern because depending on what blocks you're making, sometimes it's all face up, all face down, or a mix of both.
Sometimes you fan fold.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm going to tell you, quilters, make you a little test block. Because then you know some things, right?
Yep.
And especially now that I know about, like, directional fabric. So hold on one sec. Oh, I thought my bobbin just ran out. That was going to be sad. Okay, so remember, if I wanted my cars to all go the same direction, they'd all have to go facing up. But then I could put this down, and then this side would be up, and then this side would be up.
Yep.
I just think that's super clever, right? Whoever thought of that? Okay. All right, and then
let's see.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Here's my block, my last block that I brought today.
Awesome. We do have a question here from Joy about, can this be made in other sizes?
Yes.
So we talked about that a little. You can make this with any size cube. It's just going to change the size of your finished block.
Yeah. And keep that in mind. Like, don't make this in the 4-inch cube because your blocks are only going to be 3 inches big.
Yes. Teeny tiny.
Yeah.
And then Jenny's asking, will this be recorded so I can go slowly?
Oh, yes. Yes, you can
so
find
this
it.
Will,
Go ahead, Chris.
it'll live on the AccuQuilt YouTube channel, so you can pause it, you can rewind it, you can watch it as many times as you want.
You can listen to me all day long. Me and Chris talk about it all day long if you want. That's fabulous. Okay. Do we have more questions, Mr. Chris?
No more questions. I think we got through them all.
Okay, good deal. All right, so to finish your pattern, you want to lay out your blocks, add sashing and cornerstones and that outer border. Finish the project by adding batting between the top and the backing. Pin or based quilt is desired. Use your favorite binding method. And I'm going to tell you, when I get ready to bind this, going to use Scrappy because I had, pieces left over, right, from my fat quarters. Yep, be sure and share all your projects with us on our social media platforms. If you haven't already, join our new Facebook group called Under the Needle with Pam and Erica. All right, Chris, let's announce our winner of today's show. They're going to win. What are they winning? Do you know?
They are winning $100 in AccuQuilt reward points.
Which is a fabulous gift.
It is. All right, drum roll, please. Today's winner is Carolyn B. of Waynesville, Ohio.
Congratulations. Congratulations. I'm going to reach out to you, so be sure and answer when I'm going to send you an email saying you're a winner. All right, who's helping us with our comments today?
Today we have Ray and Lauren helping us out.
Thank you, Ray and Lauren. Ray is going to help us next week, but Lauren is going with the lovely Erica and a lot of our team to Chicago next week. They'll be there for H&H, which is kind of fun. Thanks for helping us with our comments today. Here in the studio, we have Greg and Deborah, who's doing such a great job on our graphics. She's new to our team. She's doing a great job. And of course, Kenyon. Chris, you can always find him at Rose City Originals in Portland, Oregon. I'm Pam. Thanks for joining us today. We'll see you next time.
Thanks so much for watching. To learn more about your quilting craft, be sure to follow us on Facebook and subscribe to our YouTube channel for live events every Tuesday and Wednesday. You can check out the events page on the AccuQuilt website for more details on upcoming shows. And if you're looking for even more inspiration, visit our blog for exclusive tutorials filled with tips and tricks. And remember, at AccuQuilt, we help you cut time so you can quilt more.
Join me and Erica on Tuesday, May 6th as we launch the May Die to Try. And be sure to join us next week for AccuQuilt Live as we make a super fun project using that new Die to Try.